A fierce storm had swept across the island of Sodor, leaving behind damaged tracks, fallen trees, and a broken roof of the main station. Sir Topham had gathered the engines to discuss repairs. The big engines, Gordon, Henry, and James, stood proudly, ready to take on important tasks. Thomas was excited to help too, even though he was smaller than the others. "I can help fix the station," Thomas offered cheerfully. But the big engines only chuckled. "You," laughed Gordon. "Fixing the station is a big job, Thomas. Leave that to the bigger engines." "You're just a little engine," added James with a smug grin. "We can handle it." Thomas felt disappointed, but he tried not to show it. He wanted to prove that he could be useful too, no matter his size. Early the next morning, Sir Topham had assigned Edward, Henry, and James to deliver supplies to the station for the repair crew. The three engines set off together, determined to show they could handle the important job. But as they puffed along the line, they reached the stretch of track that had been weakened by the storm. The rails creaked, and before they knew it, they were stranded, stuck in the remote area with no way to move forward or back. Henry, looking around nervously, said, "We can't stay here. What if no one finds us?" James tried to stay calm, though he was clearly worried. "Someone will come," he said, but none of them were sure how anyone would know they were missing. Back at the sheds, Sir Topham Hatt was beginning to worry. Edward, Henry, and James were long overdue, and there was no sign of them. Where could they be? He wondered aloud. Then, looking at Thomas, he made a decision. "Thomas, I need you to go out and find them. You're small and nimble, and I know you'll do your best." Thomas's eyes brightened. "Yes, sir. I won't let you down." Thomas set off, determined to find his friends. As he chuffed along the tracks, he carefully checked every siding and tunnel, looking for any sign of the missing engines. He braved broken branches, washed out tracks, and even a steep incline, never giving up. After a while, he spotted a faint glimmer of light on the lonely stretch of track up ahead. As he got closer, he heard familiar voices. There they were, Edward, Henry, and James, looking tired and relieved to see him. "Thomas," Edward called out. "We're so glad you're here." "We got stuck," explained Henry, looking embarrassed. "The storm weakened the track, and we couldn't move." Thomas smiled confidently. "Don't worry, I'll get help." But James, still doubtful, said, "Thomas, do you really think you can do it? This is a big job, after all." Thomas puffed up proudly. "I might be small, but I can do big things too." Thomas quickly chugged back to the yard, where he gathered workmen, tools, and extra supplies to repair the damaged track. He even pulled a crane truck to lift the supplies, working harder than ever to make sure everything was ready. With the workmen's help, Thomas led the repair crew back to the remote section of track. Together, they carefully reinforced the rails and secured the path. Once the track was safe, Thomas shunted each engine back to solid ground, one by one. Edward gave Thomas a kind smile. "You really did save us, Thomas. Thank you." "Looks like you're more than just a little engine," added Henry, impressed. James, feeling sheepish, said, "I'm sorry, Thomas. I should never have doubted you." Thomas beamed with pride, knowing he had proven that small engines could indeed do big things. When they returned to the station, Sir Topham Hatt was waiting, looking pleased. He praised Thomas for his bravery and hard work, and the big engines all agreed that Thomas had earned their respect. From that day on, they never teased him about his size again. And whenever there was a tough job to do, Thomas was always ready to lend a hand, proud to show that a really useful engine could be any size, as long as they had a big heart.